Hey there, little buddy. What can I do for you?
I am from the agency. For the speaking role?
I can't see why that would be the case, as I recall quite clearly that we put no goblins at the bottom of the form. Quite emphatically, in fact. Chris actually poked a few holes in the paper when he underlined it several times.
Oh, yes, I did see that. In fact, it was that very passion that made me want to work with you.
Look, I'm sorry.
Skip's not.
Really? Well, if you say so. I'm sorry, Skip's not, but we just don't want to work with any more goblins in any particular capacity, honestly.
But you haven't even seen my rates.
Look, that's not going to change anything. I could actually put a second dumpling in my soup tonight. Groove old Grace, all right. How bad could it be?
You will not regret this, Mr. Aaron, sir.
Already am. Now, here's the points we want you to hit. Just add a little razzmatazz between them and we can be done for the day.
Sure thing, Mr. Aaron, sir. This is Monstrous Mythtakes, a mini-episode of the simply sensational podcast Mythtakes Happen. This short show requires Chris and Aaron to each come up with the name of a monster and a single-sentence description of it. Then, the other one has to riff on it, expand it and fit it into the growing world of Heliakon. These two peerless creators of all things marvellous will no doubt challenge one another with increasing fervour until they are forced to join one another in glorious combat. They will slice and slash at one another with swords of wit and wonder until they cross guards and come face to beautiful face. As they gaze into one another's eyes, they will realise that the passion between them is more than just mere words, that it is a soul-deep rapport, and they will slowly move closer and closer, anger turning to tenderness and their lips aching for one another.
Whoa, what is that? Chris is like my brother.
Brotherly love is a thing, isn't it?
Not like that.
I did tell you I liked your passion.
Out. Oh, Groovold's bloody tusks. Chris is going to kill me.
Actually, that's not true. I am kind of an experience, not an experienced junkie, but I enjoy experiences. So if I had the option of giving birth, I probably would take that option just once. Yep. I don't think I'd...
Braver man than I.
Sometimes I think when I've had a particularly hard poo.
No, I'm just kiboshing that right now, right there. I don't want this to go any further, frankly.
Okay. We are doing Monstrous Mythtakes. Welcome, dear listeners, to Monstrous Mythtakes, a mini-episode that is like our Small Mythtakes, but different. Mm-hmm. Still That's small. Right. This one is about monsters, and this one is Aaron's idea because he's very smart, and we're going... Is he not smart?
I doubt it on a pretty regular basis.
Okay, this is Aaron's idea because he had the idea. Each of us is going to... Did we discuss the particulars of this format? Each of us is just going to give a monster to the other person, a monster name, right?
A name and a short single sentence description, I believe, is in the
and a
document.
Short single sentence description. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have names, right?
Mm-hmm.
My names are pretty descriptive. Well, it depends on, I've got a list of names for
right.
However many of these we do, and I don't know how long this will take. It's possible that our imaginations are limited at 3 minutes, for example, and that will not make very good listening at all.
That would be true. But we are looking to, from that simple description, or in case of a fancy name, really expand on these monsters. We want to put them into the world. We want to relate them to things that we've already created, discussed.
Absolutely.
Some ecology, how they relate to culture, that sort of fun stuff.
How do we kill them?
That's kind of important. What kind of loot might what you get from these monsters?
Gold coins.
Mm-hmm.
In our world, every animal carries at least one gold coin.
And it pops out of them in a sort of like visual, and there's always a noise. I think it's a ding, pops out of them.
Ding. Yeah. Is that canon? Is that canonical now?
I don't think it is.
We'd have to work out why that is. The god of... The arcade god.
Maybe the god of appropriate fiscal rewards.
Yeah, that's really good. No, that's not canon, everybody. Please stop listening. In fact, I want you to fast forward 35 seconds. I'm hoping it's going to take us 35 seconds to work out who goes first.
Yeah, fair enough. How about we do Junk and Pong, since this is also going to be visual, so...
Wait, no. Junk and Pong.
There we go. And John
can Pong. Oh,
he got me. I don't know if he really did get me, but it does look like he got me. So.
I did.
All right,
I don't like
trust
cheating.
You.
I don't.
You're like a brother to me.
Games.
I'd never not believe you. All right, so you get to
this
pick.
Is
that
goblin. That goblin said that we would make out, but it's not going to happen. not in this episode.
I hope people have enjoyed our little intro and introduction to Skip's Knot.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be so good. Right. People watching this will have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I don't. That introduction isn't going to be. Anyway, okay, I'll start. Let me give you a little bit of background. So something that I've established in this world is that we have a lot of eagles.
It's true.
So we have sewer eagles.
Uh-huh.
We have lake eagles. Those are the two types of eagles that we have defined. I would like you to tell me a little bit about the great burrowing trench eagle. Now, the great burrowing trench eagle also has a scientific name. It is the Phosphomyth aguila maxima. And that is just bad Latin that I made up.
Everyone loves a bit of bad Latin. I love bad Latin.
Now, not all of my monsters are going to be eagles, but I do need you to know that some of my monsters are going to be eagles, definitely.
Yeah. Phosphomyth aguila maxima, but the great burrowing trench eagle. Now, the first thing that leaps to my mind with that name is that because we did have this great war that
we did have a great war, yeah.
Between the Great Consociate and the Unfettered League. And when you say trench eagle, it really does make it sound like it received this name in the trenches. So I think it is, something that, burrowing, so it goes through the earth, and it's in relatively recent, although, the war ended about a century ago, I think we've established. There will be a timeline at some point, which I'll need to keep referring to.
The war ended with the Bloody Avenues Agreement, which was a quarter of a century ago.
Quarter of a century, yes. It wasn't anywhere near so long ago. So, yes. The Great Burrowing Trench Eagle, as opposed to the Lesser Burrowing Trench Eagle, which is no more than vermin and nuisance. The Great Burrowing Trench Eagle is, I'm definitely thinking like the size and the rough size of like a hippopotamus. Like it's big, much bigger than a human.
Okay, yeah. I like it.
Now, why is there something called burrows is called an eagle? One, because it definitely has a big beak, a raptor-like beak, and burrows. I'm thinking it burrows with claws. It's not a worm-like burrower.
Can it fly?
Do you know what? That's sort of what I was thinking right now. And what I'm imagining in my head, I'm trying to think of the word. Oh, Patagia.
Patagia
is the skin that flaps between limbs, like flying squirrels.
Oh, the membrane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that's called a Patagia. And if I wasn't going to make a lot of tapping noises, I'd look it up. But I'm just going to roll with my memory.
We're scientists. I'm something of a scientist myself. A lot of science is just making up words for things that already have words.
So is writing. So we have that in common. Right. So that's what so physical-wise, I'm imagining something long but large, roughly hippopotamus in proportions.
Yeah, buddy.
With an enormous head with a raptor-like beak. It's got digging claws. I'm going to say 6 of them. 2 really, really big ones at the front, the medium-sized ones that sort of pack to the sides, and then smaller rear ones that just sort of give a lot of sort of forward momentum and pushing, all with big digging claws on them, which I would say, broadly speaking, do have some resemblance to talons and pounces, although, modified for digging, but there's a sort of visual link there and between them a sort of rippling Patagia. So when it's burrowing, all they do.
Patagia is a good name for a band.
You're right, 100%. Hey there, Las Vegas. We are Rippling Patagia.
We're Rippling Patagia. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. We should learn an instrument. Hold on.
Brilliant. Yep. There you go. You can be the lead harmonicist. What is the term for somebody who plays harmonica?
Harpist. No, I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway. I never researched. My research went as far as to purchase this harmonica, and then never look at it again until I have to make a noise into this microphone.
Right, fair enough. I mean, you know which end to blow in, which is more than I do.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I do.
Moving right along. So that's a rough physicality. Now, I think
physicality.
Also a good name for them. They're the band that comes on before Rippling Patagia.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So I am thinking now that it's called a trench eagle, partially because in its natural environment, it digs like loose earth tunnels. So larger, mid-sized creatures sort of fall into this loose earth pits that they make, where they can be preyed upon by the trench eagle, which is a sort of somewhere between a ambush predator and a scavenger.
Okay.
However, during the Great War between the two empires, people were making these trenches, essentially building giant stretches of man-made versions of what a trench eagle does naturally. They would get confused, and then there's all these individuals moving around in trenches that sound exactly like their prey, and so that they would burst out of the sides of trenches.
Brutal. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was not common, but nor was it unheard of for there to be a sort of a subtle vibration, and the veterans all start leaping out of the trench, even if it meant going into the sight lines and your opponent, to get out of the way of this enormous predatory ambush creature bursting out of the earth.
I like that a lot. Can I add something? Let me add something. I feel like the greatest danger there would be in fresh trenches that have just been dug, because over time I know a lot of trenches become sort of reinforced and sort of more lived in. So I feel like in older trenches they would probably have more like
duck boards, like, and so forth.
Yeah,
yes,
that's right, and that kind of thing. Whereas, on fresh battlefields or in places where people have been entrenched for quite a while, it'd be less of an issue.
Of course, but ideally, in air trench warfare, you move that trench forwards.
You move that trench forward. Yeah. So it would be a developing problem.
I like that. I'm thinking because they are purely carnivorous predators, that their flesh is not good to eat. Even soldiers who hadn't been eating poor rations, perhaps even starving and so forth, would only eat trench eagle in the most dire circumstances. I'm saying that I don't know, I don't think they're a clean creature. I get this sense that they might be like full of parasites. Now, there's a question. Are they a natural creature?
Are any creatures in our world natural creatures? This is a difficult thing because our world has been through so many ages. I think we've established it's kind of difficult to tell. Although, actually, I think we did have a story about a worm. We did develop, I think, some of the early prehistory of the world. So I think it was like in like a half paragraph. So I could look at that later. But I think some creatures are natural. Some creatures have been created or brought in or something.
And I like the idea that, given that we have established lake eagles and sewer eagles, that the trench eagle, they do all share an ancestor. So since we haven't defined what lake and sewer eagles look like, they're going to have something in common to show that they have a common ancestor. Whether it's natural or not really important at this stage, just that it is definitely not good eating, mostly dangerous.
They wouldn't put it in a sandwich, wouldn't put it in a halaya dog.
Hell no, not unless you're, what's what I'm looking for? Dishonest, highly dishonest, and
highly dishonest. No, no reputable halaya dog slinger would
absolutely
give that,
and certainly not one that wanted his customers to come back.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, what benefit would you get from fighting and defeating the great burrowing trench eagle?
Well, look, I feel like, they're burrowing, right? Like, so it's possible that they live they don't just live in trenches, right? Like they live beneath the ground. They
hunt in trenches. Yes.
They hunt in trenches. Would they have a complex system of burrows? If they do, then if you kill one of them, you could then use that in warfare, perhaps to undermine enemy trenches.
Sure, it's very situational, but you have given me
very situational.
A great idea. So we'll further establish that yes, they do. They create burrows, but how's this for a notion that their bile has
okay. I'm listening.
has a unique property. So in nature, what will they reinforce their burrows with their bile? That actually makes it a much harder, almost concrete-like hardness to the sides of its burrows, making them able to repel other trench eagles.
Yeah.
But when they consume certain metals and so forth, they, like many birds do, they have to, like eagles, they have to cough up a pellet of things that they can't otherwise digest.
Of course.
And their bile causes certain interactions with, I'm going to say something that's not quite so common like iron or steel. Let's say, we do have things with brass. So copper and brass undergo a transmutation with trench eagle bile.
Transmutation, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it turns into a brand new metal.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
What will this metal be called?
Spit steel.
Spit steel it is. Done. No, it should have a cool name and a vulgar name. So
vulgar name is spit steel.
Vulgar name is definitely spit steel because it's too good.
It's too good. It's good. Too good. It sounds good.
And Egalium for its
why not?
Cool name. Yeah.
All
right. The properties of that metal are it's just it's tougher, stronger, and lighter than it is in general, and highly resistant to all acids.
Yeah. Now you have to make some kind of weapon set out of it.
Yeah, or armor set.
Or armor set, yeah.
Or
marmoset.
Yes, I mean theoretically, you could make some sort of artificer creature made in the shape of a marmoset out of this spit steel.
This is interesting. You say artificer, I say artificer. This is so interesting.
Yeah, where one puts one's emphasis is not terrifically important.
That's so funny. Oh my god. Why are people? We should charge money for this. This is real comedy.
It was real something. Let's hope it's comedy.
It's definitely real. Right.
I think that feels pretty good. I think we've got a danger. We've got a little bit of history. We've got an ecology, its relationship to people, and a reason why I might want to kill one. Because if you track it down to its burrow, you'll find these pellets, and if you kill one, you might find some spit steel inside.
I'm going to need you to write a paragraph on what you just said.
Yep.
Or actually, I can pull it out of probably the auto-generated script so that I can provide that to someone to draw a picture of this eagle. I love the description. That's fantastic.
If you shoot me through the auto-generated stuff, I'll
shoot you.
Cool. Love it. Be a long shot.
All right.
Would you like to hear then my name and brief description?
Okay.
Rockricken.
Rockricken. Oh my god.
These burrowing creatures are smaller than their watery cousins, but far more numerous. Now, I swear to whatever deity you care to name, listeners, that the fact that both Chris and I have come up with like burrowing creatures is pure coincidence.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, okay. These burrowing creatures are smaller than their watery cousins, but far more numerous. Rockricken.
I'll be honest with you, with that little description, I cut back a whole bunch. I started inventing like a whole thing with them, and I was like, no, the whole point of this is that I'm not the one inventing this. Just give it to Chris.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. No, I was much the same. I was just like, I have all these ideas. I'll write down like a monster name, and then inside of my head, there's like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. No, I can't.
No.
You know, it's because once you put art out there, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to whoever you allow to change that art, which is the audience, or in our case, you, Aaron.
Yes.
Allow me now to change your art into something that everyone can enjoy.
Hell yes.
Good Christian
right
monster.
Now, nobody can enjoy it. Like
no one can enjoy it. A rockricken. No one can enjoy that.
Oh.
This is what I'm thinking. I am thinking that when we think of the kraken, we think obviously of essentially a giant squid that lives in the oceans. The rock kraken, very, very different. They look superficially like their sort of giant squid cousins, but they're not giant. They're actually quite small. They're probably the size of a house cat. Now, the rock kraken are a dangerous monster because it's never just one rock kraken. They live in colonies. And they live in colonies of between 200 and 300 individuals.
That's a lot of rock kraken.
That's a lot of rock kraken. They're called rock kraken because they what they do is that they burrow into hard rock, especially near cliff faces, where you get things like where, naturally where those sort of, what do you call them? Pigeonholes, where pigeons, where doves live naturally.
Yes.
Rock kraken are in a similar sort of space, but instead of being on the side of the cliff, they'd be like inside of the cliff. Like they are burrowing creatures. They burrow faster than you can imagine. These creatures, the rock kraken, are not natural creatures because nothing natural could burrow or breed or attack as fast as these things could. They have we're talking a lot about things that come out of creatures, where I'm getting this thing like, how like octopuses and squids, they'll have like the ink that comes out of them when they are in a dangerous situation or whatever. These things have that too, but instead of ink, it's acid, and it's an acid that coats their many tentacles that they have. At the end of those tentacles, it dissolves whatever is in front of them, which helps with their burrowing. Now, it's never just like the one rock kraken that's burrowing. It's always the colony. It moves, you know how starlings kind of move in a...
Yes.
It's sort of like that. They all move together in whichever kind of direction makes sense to them. And in a lot of cases, the direction that makes sense of them is the direction of their prey. In their natural habitat of cliff faces and things like that, their natural prey is whatever comes close. They feed on seabirds. They feed on pelicans, albatrosses, albatrosses? All sorts of gulls. But they also have been known to venture a little further out. So any coastal caravans have to be sort of careful. Any like coastal roads, you hear stories about the rock krakens attacking them and things like that. So this would be an equal threat, I would say, to like, I don't know, there's bandits on this road. Oh, there's rock krakens on this road. Right. Or there's, that kind of thing. Is
there anything that a caravan or a wary traveller might be able to do to dissuade a rock kraken swarm from taking over, from killing them?
This is a great question. I think that although they're non-natural animals, I don't think there's a great intelligence or anything like that, like guiding them or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, they are just animals that are following instincts and things like that. I feel like there would be things that they could do, something to do. I'm thinking like, yeah.
I was just thinking, because they are definitely unnatural, perhaps there is something almost folkloric that might be able to dissuade them, to hold them off.
See, I was thinking of other things that go inside the ground, like the sandworms of Arrakis and the kinds of things that can attract them. I think perhaps something that could dissuade them could be a great amount of noise or a great amount of... You know how sandworms are attracted to like the rhythmic kind of thing? I think any rhythmic pounding would not be pleasant for them. I think they would be reluctant to attack something like that.
So a wise caravan or traveller might actually get a large steel drum and beat that as they travel in known areas.
If you can afford a good thumper, then your caravan should be safe. It's not 100% guaranteed. There have been cases of rock krakens attacking caravans, that are protected.
They get starving enough that they're willing to go through it. It's not loud enough to do more than just irritate them slightly.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking also as well, they've tried to, during our war between the Unfettered League and the Great Consociate Empire, one or both sides tried to weaponize these things. They tried to actually like gather them up and see if they can like release them into an area, and it just didn't work because they're not listening.
You know what that is? That makes them our equivalent of landmines. Like people put them down, but you manage to get some area denial, but basically in the end, all you do is make a giant headache for everybody in the area, and especially after the war.
So perhaps this is a good reason for them to be in places where they wouldn't naturally be as well. Maybe they just, maybe they've been transported from where they usually are more inland. So now you get them inland, which would be an interesting problem to have.
Yeah, it definitely seems to me like rock kraken, the way you've described it, and I really do like this. They're not a monster in the monster manual for your heroes to fight. They're much more like an environmental.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like an environmental problem. Yeah, it's more like an earthquake or a landslide, right? Like
yes, it's just a hungry earthquake that follows you.
That's right. Yeah,
it's a terrifying thought.
So I'm thinking also like the way they look is. I'm imagining sort of that long kind of
squid-like,
phallic, strong, throbbing head, and then I'm thinking probably like a random amount of tentacles, at least 10, right? Like at least 10 in there. And at the end, I think they should have they've got a beak on the inside, right? Lots of beaks today. That's good. Beaks and burrowing.
Beaks and burrowing.
Beaks and burrowing.
Name of the episode, Monstrous Mythtakes, Beaks and Burrowers.
Beaks and burrowers. We did it. And I think on the end of the tentacles as well, where they secrete this gunk, they also have little claws. Colours?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm thinking brown. It's not very interesting, but I just think they'd be brown.
Yeah, no, totally fair. Do you reckon the claws on the end that secrete this essentially earth saliva, like it dissolves
earth saliva?
Do you think it's also envenomed, so like they inject it into people and as they slowly dissolve from the inside out? That's what.
I don't want it to be. No, I don't want it to be venom. I think if it stays as acid. Then it can still hurt a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it would just
so they're still dissolving people.
It's still dissolving. Yeah, it will still dissolve people. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah.
In my head, I have this notion that because they're burrowing with this acid-tipped 10+ limbs, that they're almost spiraling through the earth like a bunch of acidic, angry, hungry corkscrews.
Yeah, because I think because they are created creatures, because they are created creatures, they move fast. Like they should not be moving this fast. Like an animal that evolved naturally wouldn't do that, and like the physics doesn't quite work. So there's something hinky going on there.
And I'd suggest the Earth heals a little bit after them. Otherwise, 300 holds to the Earth. So that's
absolutely
part of that magic that's going on.
Yeah, I don't have anything more about this rock krakens, but
I love it. But you did bring up something that I hadn't considered about the great burrowing trench eagle. It's talked a lot about its appearance, but not its coloration. And now I kind of want to revisit that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's revisit it. What color do you, Aaron, think that this great burrowing trench eagle should be?
I kind of wanted to do a bit of a sexual dimorphism, since we're bringing out the old biological lingo.
Yeah, sexual.
And have the female great burrowing trench eagle in dun browns and the occasional sort of earthen reds. They're also slightly
That's very
larger.
sad. I'm so sad. Can I just say, nature, this is just a little call out to nature, because nature makes a lot of female animals very dull-coloured. Nature, do better. Thank you. That's it.
Well, in this case, I'm nature, so I should do better. But in this case, I'm not. And I would love the males to be an absolute riot of still largely dun colours, but lots more reds and oranges. They look like like a particularly ostentatious sunset.
Oh, that's beautiful. An ostentatious sunset. Yeah.
Or polished awesome. Jasper, I think it is that I'm thinking of. They're still not like, in terms of, they're not like a peacock bright or anything like that, but they are a good deal more varied in colours. They've got striations and like an ostentatious sunset.
I love that a lot. I think that's beautiful, man.
All right, cool.
And you know what this means is that we have successfully completed a beautiful, sexy, throbbing, proud episode of Monstrous Mythtakes.
We have.
Which is really good. What do we say? What do we say to our listeners, to our strong, beautiful,
I've got an idea. Yes.
Sexy, desirable listeners?
Bye.
Brilliant. Bye.
I'm a wordsmith. Editor Aaron would like to politely bring your attention to the liking and reviewing functions of whichever platform you have found us on. Are you in Adelaide and in need of a game master? Look no further than myself and my website at metalphoenixstudio.com. If by some marvel you wish to avail yourself of even more us, search for Mythtakes Happen on Blue Sky, Threads and or Insta. I wish you many happy moments in the worlds of your creation. Bye.